Hello everyone, Melissa here with Thank Me First, and we are shooting episode 36 of WTF, aka Wednesday Thought Forum, and today's topic is toxic relationships and 12 deal breakers. So, do you have certain things in your mind that you consider deal breakers when we're talking about relationships? Now, these 12 deal breakers are primarily for relationships as like couples, but a lot of them do apply to like friendships and stuff as well. We have a lot of people here who are single. Some may be divorced, some may be in relationships, good or bad. So we are just talking about those this evening. But, not every relationship is perfect, okay? If there's a perfect relationship out there, I want to see it, but I highly doubt that there is. But, sometimes, hi Lindsay, glad to see you this evening. So sometimes in relationships, we have deal breakers or we have boundaries. But I'm talking like realistic deal breakers, ones that will protect yourself from toxic situations. I'm not talking about certain height, certain weight, blonde hair, things like that. So again, when it comes to relationships, you have to have boundaries as well. But here are 12 relationship deal breakers that everyone should consider when they're seeking a relationship, again, with either a lifelong partner, and some of these do apply to friendships as well. But consider them, deciding whether these people are actually really worth your time or not. So number one is this an abusive relationship? And this may sound kind of silly that you're hearing this, but trust me, many people are in different situations. And abusive relationships, some people say no brainer, right? It's not always that easy. I consider myself to be intelligent or semi-intelligent, depending on how you see me. But I was involved in one of these relationships. It was a mental and verbally abusive relationship. And I had children, so it wasn't an easy way out for me. I just got up one day and I had it, and I wanted my kids to know what happiness was so much more than a relationship that wasn't thriving or very unhealthy. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to see you this evening. We're just talking about 12 deal breakers to relationships. So some people are also caught up in, they don't feel like there's any way out, or maybe they were threatened in the relationship or something, they can't leave. A lot of it also has to do with lack of confidence or their own self-worth. So there's many reasons why people are involved in abusive relationships. So it's not something that we should be judging people on, because we, again, never know their situation. A healthy relationship should be one that's very respectful, and one that you are in and you want to be treated the way, or you are being treated the way you want to be treated in a relationship. No one at any time should ever take any kind of mental or verbal or physical abuse at all. Number two would be that you are a secret. This happens a lot. There are people that may not even know that you exist as a spouse or a partner or something, because this person could be living a double life, or they just have another relationship on this side that they don't want you to know about, and vice versa, the other person. It could be that they're embarrassed, and again, no one should be embarrassed by you. If they are, they're certainly not worth your time. Or they may even have commitment issues. So just remember that your time is valuable, and you don't want to waste it on someone who doesn't appreciate you. Number three, the plans are canceled constantly. And so this happens with friends and partners alike, or people you're trying to meet. And I'm not talking about someone who has something to come up at the last minute. That happens. I'm just talking about those friends that constantly bail on you at the last minute and kind of leave you hanging. On the flip side, if you're involved in a relationship and you have a long-term partner and they're just now starting to do this, that is something to be concerned about as well, because you may have deeper relationship issues that you really need to discuss. Number 4 is substance abuse problems. And again, this may seem like a no-brainer to people, but that's not always the case. Because, when you first start meeting people, whether, again, it's a friend or a partner or a potential partner, sometimes you may go out to grab a drink or something. And a lot of people do this to unwind. Some people do it because they are less tense and maybe more relaxed, so the time's more enjoyable. But the key thing here in regards to the substance abuse is what you need to be aware of is if the partner or the friend actually needs that substance to have fun, that's when it becomes an issue. Hi, Crystal. Glad you're here this evening. We are just talking about relationship deal breakers. So in substance abuse, again, it's one of the biggest problems that people have, or reasons why relationships tend to terminate. With substance abuse, oftentimes you can get mistreated. The person can sometimes become untrustworthy, and they may spend money excessively, which can hurt you in the long term. So just making poor decisions overall. Number 5 is your partner isn't faithful. And so if they're cheating on you, you definitely need to put your foot down immediately, because if not, that indirectly gives them permission to keep doing what they're doing. And it's not good. Again, you don't want to waste your time on someone who doesn't appreciate you. If they don't love you and can't fully commit enough to be faithful to you, they're not really worth keeping around. It doesn't matter how much you love them. If they can't love you back the same way, it's not worth staying at all. There are times, though, when people have cheated on another and they have worked it out. It happens. I would just say it's not as frequent as just terminating the relationship. So be careful. Number 6 is they don't fight fairly, or they fight dirty. So we've all said stupid things in arguments with people and things, but this doesn't give you a right to be a complete jerk about it. If any of the following happens, you really, really need to walk away. Let's just say the other person brings up your past with the intent to hurt you. Again, the key word here is intent. If they intently want to hurt you, that's when you need to just run. Not acceptable. People are going to say things that hurt others, but if they have an intent behind it, that's not acceptable. If they're calling you or belittling you and demeaning you with really rude names, that's not acceptable either. Gaslighting. I don't know if anyone's heard of gaslighting, but basically that's when the other person makes you feel crazy. Simple example, let's just say you put your keys down on the table and then you go to the table to pick them up so you can go somewhere, and they're not there, and then your spouse or partner or whatever says, no, you left them over there on the island, when you know you didn't. And then they do this repetitively to the point where you start questioning your own motives, and that's called gaslighting. It's a narcissistic trait. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to thinkmefirst.com. And under this menu, there's a whole section on narcissism, and gaslighting is one of those articles that I wrote because I used to live through that. So I'm very aware of what gaslighting is. And then if they attack you instead of the issue, again, attack you and not the issue that you guys are having. And then the last one is silent treatment. If they use the silent treatment, that's not acceptable either. I understand that some people may need to decompress by maybe, let's take a break, and maybe in an hour we'll come back and talk, or maybe in a day. Some people may need a day to compose themselves. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about days of silent treatment and no communication whatsoever. I can tell you in my past relationship, a funny story. I thought was funny, but there was a point where neither one of us were talking to each other. And we used to use the mirror above the sink in the bathroom as, reminders if somebody had something to do that day or something like that. And my husband at the time, again, we weren't talking. He wrote on the mirror, "Wake me up at 7 a.m. I have a meeting." And I was usually up because I was getting ready for work. So being the smart ass I am, I wrote on the mirror, "It's 7 a.m. And that's kind of how we communicated. Did it work for me? It kind of backfired, but hey, to each their own. So anyways, silent treatment, not acceptable. But, healthy relationships are about communication. And, the whole purpose of a relationship and communication is to find fair resolution when it comes to arguments, not seeing who can hurt the other one worse than the other. So number 7 is you don't feel good about the relationship in general. So when you're around this friend or this person, do you get anxious? Do you feel good about this person? Do they make you question your own self-worth? If you have a gut feeling that it's not a good match or not a good person to be around, follow your gut feeling because it's usually right. Don't waste your time on that person either. Number 8 is you want to do different things. So, sometimes you can love someone, but you may both have your eyes set on something totally different in regards to life. Like maybe you want to live East Coast, they want to move West Coast, or you want kids, they don't want kids, or you like to spend money, they don't like to spend money. And these are all issues that you may not talk about initially or something, but they usually come up. And, they could be deal breakers because these are some very life-altering moments for people. So even though you may get along early on, there may be something that comes up that, again, is not compatible with the other person. Number 9 is they are very, very selfish. This one was also, this happened to me because, again, in my past relationship, I was married to a narcissist, and this is one of the traits. So again, if you want to know more about this, there's tons of narcissistic traits and everything on my blog at thinkmefirst.com under narcissism. But, of course, we can all be selfish from time to time. It happens, but some people do it, way overdo it. And if they ever, when you're with this person, if you ever feel like you are constantly giving all your time to them and they never give you any time back, or they turn every conversation into something about themselves, or they just take advantage of your kindness, again, this is a situation that you really, really want to get away from, because if they're selfish, then they're always going to be selfish. Again, it's a narcissistic trait. And if you know anything about narcissism, they're always the victim. They never think that they are at fault for anything or accept fault for anything. So again, just being very selfish, usually one can't see past that. Number 10 is they are jealous. So there is such a thing as healthy jealousy. And I'm not talking about that, but a healthy jealousy is okay. It actually makes your partner respect you more, or it inspires them, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, to treat you better and to treat you well. So you get to the point where you don't take advantage of each other with some healthy healthy jealousy. Hi, Timmy. Timmy's joining us. Glad you could join us this evening. We're just talking about 12 relationship deal breakers. And I know for sure you and your wife have been together for a long time and had a healthy relationship, so you might be able to add to this in the comment section. But anyways, what I'm talking about in regards to jealousy is the person who has to stalk your Facebook account. Or, hi, John. Glad you're joining us this evening. Wonder what kind of pipe you're smoking. John likes pipes, so that was Buckeye Piper. You might find him at YouTube. So there you go, John. I'm promoting you. So anyways, I'm talking about the Facebook stalker or the person who wants to see your phone all the time to make sure that you're not cheating on them or whatever. That's the kind of jealousy I'm talking about. If they're that kind of person, you really need to be careful because that can lead to an abusive relationship. So just be aware of that. And if they don't trust you, is just not going to work. I'm just saying. Number 11 is you don't share the same values. So you've heard of opposites attract, and that's true. Opposites attract. It does happen. But it doesn't mean that they make the best partners. So let's just say you're passionate about one thing and they're not. It could be politics, could be, again, having kids. No problem, Julie. I'll see you later. Miss you too. Glad you came. So we're just talking about your partner has opposing beliefs. This can cause a lot of arguments or maybe some sadness or things of that nature, just negative feelings. Because if your partner has opposing beliefs, it could upset you easily. But just because you have those opposing values doesn't mean you won't work. It just takes a lot more work than normal. So, it's a possibility it could work and may not, just throwing it out there. And then last but not least is number 12, and that's that you are always fighting. So do you feel like you're always fighting or you are always fighting? That's a red flag in a relationship. Because, arguing can be healthy. To some degree, it happens to even the best couples. So, it can be healthy because, again, it learns for you to both build communication. And again, communication is key when it comes to relationship building. So what you need to be able to do, though, is in these situations, as far as arguing, the healthy arguing is when you're able to build empathy when you're doing it, and you resolve your problems in a positive way, and talk respectfully to each other. That's being healthy. If you're constantly being negative and having these negative argument sessions or whatever, you definitely need to get out because it's not going to get any better. The bottom line is, life is just, it's terribly short. You don't see it all the time until you get older, like my age. But you want to spend that time with someone who is worth your time. I wasted many, many years in my prior relationship to, again, verbal and mental abuse. But now that I'm out of it, it's so much better and so worth it. But I lost a lot of time there. I don't want that to happen to you because, again, life is short. If your partner or your friend, spouse, whatever, is controlling or just even annoying to you and don't acknowledge you, it's really time to leave. Even though you may love them and you think there may be change, but there hasn't been any and they're not willing to help themselves, then it's not really worth staying in the relationship. Again, this is just coming from someone who's been through it. So I'm just reading Lindsay's comment. She said, I've been through all of these, so thank you for doing this video. It's nice to have someone to relate to when it comes to this topic. I will tell you, Lindsay, that everyone has been through this. Again, we do have some people in our group that have long-term relationships and married for the first time or whatever, and it does happen, and it's wonderful to see that. But I guarantee you there's more people than not that have been through this, so you're not alone in this battle. But, these aren't easy decisions when you have to leave, but I'm going to tell you that it is so worth it. I'm living proof of that. So anyways, if you like this information, again, please go to my blog at thinkmefirst.com, and I have tons of articles there. And I do have that whole section on narcissism if you want to learn more about toxic relationships. Those are the worst of the worst. But then you can also find me on Pinterest at pinterest.com/Missy Think Me First. We have our Facebook group here, and then I can be found on YouTube. Just in the search bar, just type in Melissa Shim, and all these videos will come up. And if you want extra tips, tricks, and hacks, I do have an email that goes out twice a week, and you can sign up for that at on my blog at thinkmefirst.com. Anyways, I appreciate everyone hanging in there and staying with me. And to those of you that have been in good, long-standing relationships with your partner, spouse, etc., please leave comments for those that are maybe now just seeking new relationships or whatever. But until then, everyone take care and think me first. Have a good evening.